Good afternoon, everyone. Did we enjoy our lunch? Yeah, I did too. I'll introduce myself in a little while. Do me a favor, though, during our presentation today, if I start talking a little bit too quickly, because I have that Jersey problem where that's where I'm from, New Jersey, and we talk really, really quickly sometimes. If you have a problem with what I'm saying or you can't understand me, please just raise your hand. I have no problem going back and recovering something, okay? I got no problem at all with it, all right? With that, I actually wanted to show you a video. I think it's funny. It's an SNL skit about MySpace. I know that's nothing that you deal with nowadays, but it is still applicable. It still works. So just pay attention and watch it. Okay, so a little bit of humor to inject into a very serious topic. I find it funny, even though, like I said, Facebook is completely defunct and anybody here have a MySpace account? Don't lie. If you do, just admit it. Oh, you do? Check it out. There's actually two. Every time I do this presentation, everyone's like, what is MySpace? Really? So they do have these. Now, we put a couple of slides in here just to get a couple ideas of what we're dealing with. I want you guys, I'm going to hit this button, and when you see these logos come up, these icons, I want you, if you know them, raise your hand, or actually don't raise your hand, just yell it out. We tried this with the teachers, and so you know the best we got. These are the top 13 social media sites on the computer now, on the internet. The best we got were teachers that went to 8. Okay, we got 8 of them. So we want to see how many we can get. Anybody here that gets 13 gets, a prize of some sort that I haven't decided yet. LinkedIn, Instagram. Oh, wow. He's like, come on. Nice. No, it's a little different. How is it that only 4 of you said YouTube? I mean, come on, it says YouTube. Come on, everybody should be saying that. I don't understand that. The one on the bottom that looks like a snake that got stepped on, that's a stumble upon, I'm sorry. The big P, like the little P, it looks a little bit like Pinterest, but it's called Path. Don't know, never been on it. Tumblr, and the one with the TV screen, let's see, I have to check this myself. TV tagged, formerly called Get Glue. So these are the big ones, right? You did a little better than most of your teachers. Give yourselves a hand, good for you. Nobody got 13, so I don't have to give you the $1 million I was going to give you, too bad. Oops. I wasn't going to. Now, do you use social media? Everybody does, right? Who here has Facebook? Show me. Yeah, everyone does. Twitter, do you tweet? I got to tell you, I really hate Twitter. I really hate it. I mean, the celebrities get on there and they tell you, I'm going to buy eggs now. Would you shut up? I don't care. Just go do it. Snapchat, you got to do it, right? Got to have Snapchat. My 12-year-old tries to do that, and I'm like, shut up. You have 4 friends, and 2 of them are your parents. And Instagram, of course, right? Everyone has Instagram because everyone absolutely needs to do is see exactly what you're doing exactly when you're doing it. And how many of you here, here's another big question that I absolutely love to ask everyone that we asked last time. How many of you actually take selfies? Raise your hand. Be honest. It's a terrible thing. I got to tell you, I can tell you this much. Honestly, I've never done a selfie. I don't even like long distance pictures of me. Close-up pictures that really scare me, so I don't do that. But they do selfies. Now, just so you're aware, this is what old people think of with social media, okay? They see Twitter and they say, I need to pee, because that's what you do, right? You tell people what you got to do. Facebook, I just did it. Foursquare, this is where I did it. Quora is, why am I doing it? What am I doing? YouTube, look at this. Watch me do it. LinkedIn is, guess what? I'm good at it. And Google Plus is, of course, let's all do it together. Everyone do it together, right? That's what we see of social media as. Just a couple more really quick questions. Do you think privacy settings work? Who here thinks privacy settings work? Even a little. Maybe. Depends on where you are and what you're doing, right? Maybe. How about, do you trust the internet? Everything that's on the internet must be true. It must be true. I found it on the internet. You ever see that commercial with the guy You ever see the commercial with the guy? Oh, yeah, he's a French model. Bonjour. Yeah, really. Do you share personal information with strangers? With anybody else? Really? How many of you have a Facebook page that has your phone number, your email address, your birth date, anything like that? Yeah, that's personal information, folks. You give me those 3 pieces of information, I can create a fake you in about 10 minutes. 3 pieces of information. How about, do you know everybody who knows you? Do you know everyone who knows you? I mean, logically, think about it in life. You don't really know everybody that knows who you are. That's just a logical thing. When you're on the computer, especially when you're on social media, you need to understand something. You don't even know a percentage of the people who know you. Because what ends up happening is your friends link with other friends who link with other friends, and that third level of friendship, they know you too. And you've never met or talked to or thought about those people. So they're there. They really do. And do you think your information is destroyed when you delete it? Who thinks that when you delete that picture, it is gone forever? Good, because I'm going to tell you this much. It really isn't. I can actually take your computer apart, take one board out of your computer, put it into a forensic analyzer, and we can get every single website you've been on, every chat you've had, every picture you've put on your computer, and every video you've ever seen on your computer. I can pull it up on my analyzer. Like that, folks. So even when you delete it, even if you reformat your computer, guess what? It's still there. Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, doesn't it? Nice. I'll look at that picture. Nobody's ever going to find out. Got to tell you, I've done it. Now, let me introduce myself real fast. My name is Frank Bopp. I'm a patrol officer in Toms River, New Jersey. If you want to know where that is, and I was reminded of this after the last presentation, you ever see Jersey Shore? Yeah, that annoying little orange bowling ball came through my town every day. I hate Snooki. Hater. We all do. But Jersey Shore is filmed in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, which is right outside of Toms River. That's where I work. We have a police department of 160 uniformed officers. I'm currently assigned as a school resource officer at Toms River High School North. We have 3 high schools in our town. My high school has 2,400 students in it. I'm assigned there. I've been assigned as a school resource officer for 10 years. And every day I'm there. I'm dealing with exactly what your teachers deal with, what you deal with every single day, but from a different perspective, obviously, correct? I was assigned a little while ago every summer because I'm assigned in a school. I was actually allowed to go to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Summer Crimes Task Force. And what they do is they have computer crimes people. You know, like those Dateline NBC people? They go out there and try to catch those predators. That's what we did for an entire summer. So I was actually pretty lucky to be a part of that. So I get to go find bad guys and make them stop trying to bother you. I'm also a part of the New Jersey Gang Investigators Association. It's something that I like doing. There are a lot of gangs in our town. There are gangs everywhere. But I actually love doing those types of investigations, and I've been doing that for about 6 or 7 years as well. The reason I'm coming here to talk to you guys is this is actually one of my passions. I love talking to kids about how to be safe on the internet because, you know, you all think that you're absolutely safe. I'm being very careful. I'm a 17-year-old kid. I'm not some weird, what age group we have here? Like 17, right? 16, 17, 18? All right, 18. I don't want to say like 14-year-olds and you're like, what are you talking to me for? Well, all right. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to talk to you guys about a young lady that I met. Her name was Janie. Janie was actually a 15-year-old girl. She was very well liked in her school. She was in her community. She was very active in school activities. She's not what you would think of as like a victim. You know what I mean? Nice kid. Everybody liked her. Her family was very close. They talked to one another about everything. So one day, Janie is on her computer, and she gets an instant message. She's chatting back and forth with one of her friends, and she gets an instant message. Bloop, I hear you like soccer. She don't know who this person is. What are you talking to me for? So what does Janie do? Janie says, oh, well, I don't know you. Leave me alone. Stop bugging me. And enter, and X is out of it. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? It's the right idea. You don't know who that person is. A couple minutes later, she gets another instant message from the same person. And it says, bloop, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I just, I'm new. And I live a couple towns over from you, and somebody told me that you like soccer, and, I like soccer. I thought maybe we could be friends. But listen, I'm not one of those creeps. I just wanted you to know that. Don't be afraid. I'm really sorry that I bugged you, though. I just thought maybe we could be friends. So Janie's a nice girl, right? So Janie gets on there and goes, you know what? Okay, all right, I'm sorry. There are a lot of weirdos out there, though. You just don't know who you're talking to, you know? So who are you, and how old are you, and where do you live? And he says, well, my name's Johnny, and I live a couple towns away from you, and I'm 17. Oh, okay, that's nice. So they start having this conversation. And as it is, I mean, we can say this now because, you know, when I was a kid, this never happened. I got to tell you, you don't get relationships whenever you were kids when I was a kid, without actually meeting somebody. But can it happen today? Absolutely, you can do that, right? You can have a relationship on a computer for years and never actually have any contact with that person. So here we are. Janie's on this computer, and she's talking back and forth. And every time she'd get on the computer, guess who's there? Johnny. And she's all excited. She feels actually excited to get on the computer and talk to this guy because, hey, you know what? I don't have a whole lot of friends, and I really like this guy. He's really nice to me. Back and forth, they're starting to talk. About 6 months later, she starts feeling things for this guy, you know? Starts getting a little closer. They start paying attention. A couple months after that, she realizes that she not only feels for him, she thinks she's in love with him. And they talk about this kind of stuff, you know? And they start advancing, as girls of 15 and 16 do. They start advancing toward that level, you know? I want to start sharing more intimate things with you. And they start having cyber sex. And it's back and forth for months like this, over and over, you know? I love you, and then they have these encounters. They get off the computer. Well, we're about 8 or 9 months into this, right? 8 or 9 months into it, and Johnny says to her, hey, you know what? I really love our relationship. I love chatting with you. I love what we do together, and I love sharing my intimate side with you. But here's the problem. I really want you to hear me say it. I want you to hear it in my voice. And she goes, well, okay, but I can't talk about that kind of stuff with my parents hearing it. I can't do that. Oh, you know what? That's cool. My parents gave me an extra cell phone. I just have an extra one laying around. We have a whole bunch of minutes. I'll send it to you. And then I can call you, and we can talk. So whenever I call, you answer, we'll talk, we'll have our chats. Your parents don't even have to worry about it. And when we're not talking, you can use the computer anytime you want, or the phone anytime you want. Well, that's cool. But you need to know something. Okay? People say I sound a little older than I really am. Well, who cares? That's a voice. He said, I know, right? But sometimes it freaks people out. They think I don't sound like a 17-year-old kid. Well, don't worry about that. I don't worry about that. So he sends the phone, and they start having, you know, these conversations. They start talking on the phone. They're, once again, 4 or 5 months later, okay? They're still having these conversations. They've graduated from cyber sex to phone sex now, talking back and forth, having these intimate relationships on a phone. And then we're about a year into this. A year into it, and he says to her, I want to meet you. I love our relationship. I love talking to you. I love sharing these secrets with you. You know, I've shared every secret I have in my life with you, and I know I love you. You're the one for me. And she says, you know, I feel the same way. I'm so in love with you. And he goes, okay, well, I want to meet you in person. I actually want you to see how much I love you. When I say I love you, I want you to see it in my eyes. And I want to hold you, and I want to touch you, and I want to share that intimate side with you. She said, you know, I do too. He goes, but there's something I need to tell you first. Okay, what's the matter? I'm not really 17. Really? How old are you? I'm 27. Oh, 27 I can't do. 27's too much. You know, it's too much of a difference. I can't do that. That's just weird. I can't do that. Why didn't you tell me? But he says, you know, come on, age is only a number. Let me pause there. I like to pause here and point something out to you. Yes, really. This is what I want to point out to you. My point to you is that if anybody ever uses that line on you, especially you young ladies, you need to know they're only in it for one thing, okay? The fact of the matter is this. It's more than just an age, isn't it? I turned 40 this year. 40. So before you were born, I was able to drive, buy my own beer, and I was in the Army. To me, you're not sexy, you're not lovely, you are children, okay? That's a healthy relationship between you and I because, quite honestly, what do we have in common? What do we have in common? I'm 40, I got a career, I'm a cop, I got a mortgage, I got 3 kids and a dog and a wife. Anybody? You got a dog, see? We're getting closer, right? And I said this last time, it's really the truth. I have a 12-year-old daughter that lives in my house with me every day, and I can't even talk to her. What are we going to have? What relationship are we going to have? It's more than just a number. It's a generational gap. So if anybody says anything to you like that, there's only one reason for it, folks. So he says this, but it's only a number. Don't you understand? I love you. I love you so much. I've been looking for you my whole life, and I love you so much. Please don't leave me. I love you. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh, you're right. You're right. I do. I love you. I've shared all of my intimate secrets with you. You listen to everything I say. There are people in my life that don't even listen to what I have to talk about. I love you. That's it. Yes, I love you. Okay, this is what I want to do. Tell your parents that you're going over to your friend's house for the weekend. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll send you a cab to your house. And then the cab will take you to the New Brunswick train station. And he will meet you there. Now, New Brunswick is a place in New Jersey, very close to New York City. And he says, you know what we're going to do is I'll take you into the city. We'll get a hotel. We'll go catch a movie or a show. I'll take you to dinner. We'll go dancing. We'll make love and share our passion for one another. And you'll see in my face how much I truly love you. She goes, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story, folks, is because this is an actual investigation that we did. What ended up happening at that point, what do most of you do whenever you get done with your chats? Delete them, right? Or X out of them, right? Because you don't want mom and dad to find out what you're talking about. Well, Janie forgot. Mom walks into her room. She's walking around picking up laundry, notices the computer. Oh, hell no. You are not doing that. So she calls us. The police show up. We take Janie's computer. Now, like I said to you, we take out that one board. We can find out every conversation that you've had on that computer. Remember that, folks. Keep that in mind. So we find out exactly what this guy's been doing over the last year and a couple months, and we realize what's going on. Now, we don't tell Janie that we have this information. On Friday, we show up at her house. Guess who comes walking out with her backpack? Janie. There she is. Janie, how you doing? Okay. Where you going, hon? I'm going to meet my boyfriend. Oh, really? What's his name? His name's Johnny. Really? How old's Johnny? He's 16. Liar. Come with us, sweetheart. So we get her in the car, take her down to the police station. Now, there's another team of us heads up to the New Brunswick train station, because remember, that's where Johnny's going to be, right? That's where Johnny's going to be. And we see this guy looking a lot like me, not 27. Don't make fun of me. Not 27, right? Sitting on a bench with a bag just like this, under the bench. So we walk up. And Johnny, how you doing? And of course, with all this stuff, he's like, okay. What are you doing here? Oh, I'm waiting for my girlfriend. Really? Oh, that's great. What are you guys doing? Oh, we're going to go up to the city. We're going to see a show. It's going to be nice. We're going to make a weekend of it. Oh, great. What's her name? Janie. Oh, Janie. How old's Janie? 32. Liar. How old are you? I'm 44. Stand up, dummy. So we stand him up, we put handcuffs on him, we take him in. Now, as police officers often do, when you lock somebody up, you search the stuff that they have with them. Now, this is the bag. This is not the exact bag. I actually put my own stuff in there because other stuff is evidence. But this is very similar to the bag that he had. Okay? I want to show you what Johnny was going to bring on his romantic weekend with Janie. I want to share this with you because it's very important. Because he really, really loves her. He bought her a teddy bear. Now, his teddy bear was a lot bigger. But, I'm a cop and I don't make a lot of money, so you get what you get. But you get it, right? Stuffed animal, teddy bear, I love you. Aww. Okay. All right. Also in his bag was a box of condoms. Now, wait. He said he was going to go to the city and they were going to share their love and make love the entire weekend, right? Maybe he's a safe sex. He's a smart guy. He doesn't want to cause any problems for her. I mean, good for him. Good, nice guy. Also in there was this big old tub of Vaseline. Well, maybe he had problems with his lips. Maybe he had lip problems, or I don't know. But imagine this, guys. Hold on. Let me show you a visual, right? I'm a cop, and I got to buy all the own stuff for my own presentation, and I'm in uniform, and I walk into Rite Aid. Shut up and ring it up, please. Shut up and ring it up. Just do it. Okay, also inside his bag was a roll of duct tape. Hey, my dad always said duct tape can fix anything. What if they got to the hotel and a pipe burst? Maybe he's just being prepared. What a smart guy. That's the kind of guy I want to have around. Also in his bag was, a pair of handcuffs. And not like, those funny cuffs that you can run up and put on your friends and tie and leave them on a rail that actually have a button that they don't realize is there. Fake cuffs, These are like the real ones. The ones that, the jewelry that police officers give you when you do bad things and we take you over to the big house. These are real, like steel ones. I don't have an explanation for that one. Maybe he just was worried about needing handcuffs. I don't know. But the best thing that he had in his bag was the thing that showed me the most that he loved her more than anything in the world. Okay, more than anything in the world. And that was his 12-inch hunting knife.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand something from me. This was real. Okay? This was real. During these investigations, after we take Knucklehead down and we take him to the police station, we have to actually interview them. Not because I like hearing what these kind of sick people have to say, but because in our line of work, we have to figure out how to think like them. And I don't. I need to learn how to do that so that I can go out and find others. So what he tells us is, he's going to take her into the city, he's going to duct tape her mouth, handcuff her to something, do things to her that kids your age should never even have to think about. And when he was finished with her, he was going to fill her full of holes and throw her in a river. Oh, that was just, dressing, I guess. So what ends up happening, folks, is think about this. But for the fact that Mom walked into that room at that one time and Janie forgot to close one conversation, we would have been reading about her on a milk carton in the newspaper. And folks, she's just like you. All of you that think you're all kinds of safe, let me tell you something. She thought she was the safest kid on the internet, thought she was doing everything right. This guy knew what he was doing. He took more than a year to groom this girl. More than a year. It's not like they just sneak up to your house and go, ooh, I want her, and they go and take them and then take them to the city. No, it's a year's worth of work trying to convince this girl. And the thing that bothered me the most about this entire case is when we're done, we also have to interview the victim. And even after I took all this lovely love stuff and I spread it out on a table before her and said, look, hon, this is what he was going to do, she wouldn't believe me. He loves me. He would never do that to me. Folks, they're out there. These predators are out there and they're coming for you. The reason I want to come and talk to you about this stuff is not because I want to put myself out of business, although I would absolutely love to. What I want to do is I want to give you the information. That way, whenever these people come after you, you can stand there, you can have the bullets in your belt to fight back. Be prepared for what's going on, okay? So that's why I'm here, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about a couple things today. The threats on the internet to you guys, a lot of these hacks are actually out there. A lot of them you're going to stumble upon. Like pornography, I don't care where you go, what you're searching for, what you're doing, you're going to find it. The example I always use is that my daughter had a project one time. She was 6. She had to do a dinosaur project. So I needed to get a picture of a brontosaurus, right? So I put in brontosaurus, and I get some naked guy standing there like this. I mean, really? And that was on Google with the parental settings. And I get that. It's there. We know it's there. There's also child pornography. And folks, when I say child pornography, I'm not talking about the legal definition of child pornography is any image or video of anyone under the age of 18 performing any explicit sexual act, okay? So if two 17-year-olds just about to turn 18 tomorrow go to a hotel and think it's going to be really cool to videotape themselves, that is child porn. Got it? Under the legal definition. But when I'm talking to you about this stuff today, I'm not talking about those people. I'm not talking about the 17 about to be 18-year-olds. When I say child pornography today, you need to understand these are 2, 3, and 4-year-olds being brutalized by other people. Things that if you saw, you would be sick. Okay? That's out there, and we know it's out there. Hate groups and gangs, they have Facebook pages now, folks. You can put in whatever super gang you want. Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, doesn't matter. Put that.com and you will go to a website. They are recruiting online, and they know it. We know they're there, and they know we know they're there. But guess what? They know we can't do much about it, right? The internet's the internet. But they're out there. Identity theft. Like I said to you before, if you put your name, your date of birth, and your phone number on any computer, I can make a new you in about 20 minutes. And I am not that smart. You need to understand that. Right now, you're not going to care much about it, right? You're like, well, I'm only 17. What's the difference? I can't buy a car now anyway. When it is going to make a difference is when they wait till you are 18. Then you're legally allowed to go out and do those things. Open your own credit card accounts. Buy your own cars. Open your own mortgage. So when you apply for your first credit card and they say, well, you can't have one because you have bad credit. You defaulted on 2 mortgages in Costa Rica. And you say, what? That's what we're talking about. If anybody asks you personal information, your date of birth, your name, your phone number, your address, your social security number, I don't care who they are, the answer is no. I had somebody actually call me the other day. My bank called me at home and wanted to verify my information. You know how much I gave them over the phone? 0. I'll be into the branch to do that. Do you know why? Think about that. Who just called me? It could be me saying, hi, this is TD Bank. We're going to verify your account number. What if somebody went to your mailbox, took your mail out of your mailbox, and has your account number and your name and your address? What do you do then? Don't give any information to anybody. Harassment and terroristic threats, I throw that up there because, folks, I do work in a school, in a high school, your age, right? And I'm getting absolutely sick and tired of every Monday I go in and there's some mom sitting in the office with a stack of printouts of conversations from Facebook about how some girl called their daughter a skank with ugly hair. Guess what, folks? That could be considered a crime. It really can. It really can. And you need to be careful with what you're doing, okay? Terroristic threats for us is basically there are a lot of people out there that get angry at things, don't they? Anybody here ever say, you know, I could just kill that guy? You knock it off or I'm going to kill you. Think those things, right? May have said it. Problem is, if you do say it and you write it down, it can be considered what's called a terroristic threat. You're actually going to harm someone physically. Not a good idea. But it's out there. When you put it in print and you actually publish it on the internet, it's there for all to see. Okay? We know that they're out there. Now, child sexual exploitation. This is something that I dealt with whenever I went to that task force, and I actually deal with also now. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. All right? It's a lot more prevalent than you might think. So for instance, we spend $3 billion a year as a country, $3 billion a year on things we should be doing, like iTunes, Amazon.com, those types of things, purchasing things legally on the internet. $3 billion, that's a lot of money, isn't it? It's a lot of cash. In contrast, there's $20 billion a year spent on child pornography and sexual exploitation of children. 7 times the amount of money. You think they're not there? You better believe that they're there. And you know what's even worse about it is that you can't go on any computer and just search child porn. It's illegal. They lock those sites down. So these people have to be really good, and they have to spend a lot of money and a lot of time on it. Those are the people that are coming after you. They're there, and there's a lot of them. All right, in the United States, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimates that 1 in 5 children, that's 20% of you, has been approached by strangers for sexual content. This actually happened to a very dear close person to me, a relative. She's on her computer, sitting there messaging back and forth with her friends. It comes up, poop, I've been waiting for you to come on. Oh. And they send her a picture of her face photoshopped on a naked body. And if you don't send me actual naked pictures of yourself, I'm going to post this picture everywhere. Everywhere. Luckily, she was smart enough to actually tell her parents. They told the police, and they moved on with that. But how many, ladies, tell me, how many of you would do something crazy to save your reputation? How many? Some would. I got to tell you that. Some would. And then what ends up happening is you get reeled in. All right, you get reeled in. Guys, I mean, somebody says, hey, we're gonna Photoshop your body on this naked guy. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're not getting a reputation. In Ocean County, where I live, we actually do a bunch of, when we do these presentations, we do surveys. We found that in these surveys, it's actually not just 20%, it's actually like more 40 to 60% of kids have been approached. And that's pretty much a national average. That happens a lot, okay? And a lot of people don't even realize it's happening, but some do. 67% of the offenders who committed these crimes possessed child pornography. Remember, like I said, not those 17-year-old pictures. We're talking 2, 3, and 4-year-olds doing horrible things to kids. 83% had images of children between the ages of 6 and 12. Anybody have younger brothers and sisters? Them. Think about that. They have pictures of them. I mean, what is that? 80% had images explicitly showing sexual acts with kids. And in my opinion, it's a lot more serious and a lot more important to talk to you about this than it is drugs. Don't get me wrong. Drugs are horrible, right? They ruin your society. They can destroy people's lives, right? But think about this. When that junkie shoots that junk into their arm, who are they hurting? Literally, they're only hurting themselves. Got it? When we're talking about this, we're talking about little kids that never did nothing to nobody. Innocent little children, they're coming after them to hurt them bad. That's a real problem, folks. And I don't like that. It's one of the joys of my job is I get to stand in between them and you. Okay? So, let's talk about a couple of types of online predators. The first one is what's called a fantasy chatter. Fantasy chatters are very, very, very aggressive. Very aggressive. The only thing they want to do is get on the computer and they want to have cyber sex with you. That's it. They don't want to get to know you. They don't want to be your friend. They're not going to do that long thing that Johnny did with grooming somebody to meet them. They don't want any of that. They want to get on the computer, they want to have their fun, and they want to get off. That's it. And what they'll do is they'll be so aggressive that they'll show these pictures of themselves performing sexual acts, and they'll put it up on a computer. And if you go, whoa, and you get off the computer, you know what they're going to do? Move on to the next one. Because sooner or later, somebody's going to go, all right, yeah, okay, maybe. What's that about? You never know. Okay? So that's what they do. They fish for these things. Sometimes they're preferential. Sometimes they want little kids. Sometimes they want adults. Sometimes they want boys. Sometimes they want girls. The fantasy chatter, though, is just that person that just wants to get in there, have their fun, and get off the computer. Okay? That's the first kind. The second kind is what's called a traveler. Traveler is a lot more dangerous than the fantasy chatter, right? Fantasy chatter just wants to, now, is having a cyber sex chat with a 10-year-old, is that victimizing that 10-year-old? Yes. Yes, it is. It's against the law. It's illegal. It's something that we need to protect those little children against, because do you really think they know what's going on? No. Okay? But that fantasy chatter wants to have that encounter and then goes and leaves them alone. The traveler is the one that wants to go there and reach out and actually touch them. A lot more dangerous, right? A lot more dangerous. The traveler sometimes starts as a fantasy chatter, but then the fantasy chats just aren't enough anymore. It's not enough for me to just talk to you or actually get cyber sex with you. I actually want to reach out, and I want that conquest. I want to be able to say that, guess what? I got her to do things you wouldn't believe. That's what they want to do, okay? And the problem with these folks, and the reason that they're so dangerous, is because when people do bad things, they typically don't want other people to know about them. So they want to make sure that their victims are quiet about it. They go out, they not only do it, but then they try to make sure that the people don't talk about it. A lot of times they'll use pornography or pictures of themselves to pique the interest of the kid. I mean, and also because it kind of desensitizes them to the entire thing, okay? Me, when I was a kid, those horrible horror movies that I saw was like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. My sisters used to force me at 6 years old, 7 years old, and 8 years old to go into a movie theater and watch these things. I was terrified. Now I watch that stuff going, that? Really? That's what you made me watch? And the reason that is because now we've been desensitized to it, right? I've seen so many other things, that's just not enough. Now we got to have, actual ghosts and paranormal activity and people flying around the room and demons and all those kind of things. So they do that for the same reason. They show you these pornographic pictures so that you become used to it. And like I said, if you don't like it, no problem. I'll move on to the next one. These people, though, the groomers, these travelers are the ones that will spend years getting their victims to be under their thumb, completely enamored with them. so that they can meet with them, have an encounter with them, sometimes let them go so they can go back again for a second one, but a lot of times that's when the kid don't come home. New trends. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. When we first started doing this kind of stuff, when I got involved with it, there was always like that guy, you know, that stereotypical weirdo like in the Saturday Night Live video? Those 50-year-old guys sitting there with weird looks, and you look at them and go, oh, that's a pedophile. Oh, yeah. And you walk up to the door, and it's in the woods somewhere, and the guy lives in his basement with no pants, and that's all he does all day is work on his computer, trying to get little kids. And when we would knock on the door and say, ma'am, we need to come get your husband because he's looking at child porn, you know what the wife would say? Just give me 5 minutes, and you can drag his dead body right out the front door, because I'm going to go kill him right now. Now it's a little different. It's not 50-year-old guys anymore. It's actually in their 20s and 30s. We're getting a lot of them. A lot of guys in their 20s and 30s. Not only that, but their wives or girlfriends, you know what happens? Not only do they know about it, but they're complicit in it. They help. They help victimize this kid and then get rid of them. Isn't that touching? But so what we're seeing now is it's changing. It's no demographic, no religious, preference, no ethnicity, no economic status, male, female, old, young, city, suburbs, woods, it doesn't matter. They come from everywhere. They really do. We also see a bit of a technology shift. You have to understand, coming from our perspective, your teacher's perspective and mine, when I wanted to get on the computer and get online, you know where I had to go? Our family computer that sat in the family room right next to where my father watched television. If I wanted to talk to somebody on the phone, I had to walk out into the kitchen and talk on a phone that was connected to a wall. Yes, they actually existed. You actually had to dial numbers. It was amazing, right? Now, if you want to, you can just take out your phone right now and be on the internet in about 2 seconds, can't you? Makes it more difficult for us. But I got to tell you this much. It's difficult to track these people. It's difficult to find out where they are and what they're doing. But I got to tell you, I know you may not think this, but cops are kind of smart. I pay attention to those kinds of, she went, yeah, right, I don't think so. So cops are kind of smart. We try to stay ahead of these trends. When we find out that something like this is taking place, guess what we do? We not only learn about it, but we try to beat it. And we also have a whole division of people. And you know what they do? They come up with ways to beat security systems, to beat the security settings on websites. That's all they do. So they know how to then fix what other people are getting through. So we know how to do it. The other problem is that the media, like Dateline NBC that goes in there to catch a predator, they all know that there might be that kind of sting, that the cops are actually out there looking for them. So what they end up doing is they want video. I want pictures. I want to see you right now. But we have ways around that. You know how every computer has that built-in TV screen, the camera right in there? If you put a piece of tape over there and say, my mom and dad broke it, most pedophiles are going to go, oh, well, okay. Or you take some Vaseline and you put it across the lens of the camera. You can see a figure, but you can't see much. Well, what's wrong with the camera? I don't know how to fix it. Or, well, then show me a picture. Okay, let me see. And we go and we find a bunch of 14, 15-year-olds who are willing, and we get their parents' permission to use their pictures. Let me see which one I want to be today. We're going to be this one. And send them the picture. Okay? There are ways around it. But it does make it more difficult for us to catch them. It makes it more difficult for us to actually investigate them. But it's out there. And privacy, folks, let me tell you something. I am not a computer guy, meaning, I get to a certain point in my computer knowledge and where I'm troubleshooting why my computer doesn't work, and I'm lost. I can't figure it out. I feel like I'm looking at a computer going, you are stupid, ha, 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 ha. And I have to call somebody like him to say, how do I fix this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I guarantee you, if any of you who has a Facebook page? Who here is private? I bet you in 5 minutes I can be on your page. And I'm not even your friend. Give me 5 minutes, I'll be on your page. And I'm not that smart, folks. You need to remember that. Every single person that's on Facebook, every time you post something on your friend's site, guess what happens? All of their friends can see it. So what you have to understand is your privacy settings work to a limit. Not only that, but I've noticed in your age group, you really like to collect friends. Who here has more than 100 friends on Facebook? 200? 300? The most I ever saw was 1,000 friends on Facebook. Let me ask you this. She says, yeah, I got more. You don't have 1,000 friends. You don't. So why in the world would you have 1,000 Facebook friends? Because it's like a game. It's like a competition. How many can I get that you don't have? Right? But what you have to understand is when your friends are doing this, what these bad guys will do is they'll collect it. They'll just wait till you get online. And then when you get online, they message you. They pounce, just like they did with my relative. They jump on you. And they say, I've been waiting for you. And, you never know. You might start a conversation with them because they got to be a friend. My stuff's set to private. They have to be my friend to get in touch with me, right? Your privacy settings, folks, don't work. They don't work. I don't care where you are, what site you're on, what social media network you use. Give me 5 minutes, I will be on your page. I will. I'll be on your page. It does not take me much. One of the statistics that we found was this. We got 1,310,000,000 users of Facebook, and the average number of friends per Facebook user is 130. So we have what, 50 people in here today? How many people are actually sitting in this room then? If you think of it in the Facebook world, we're talking what? 6,500 people? I'm not a mathematician. He had to do the math beforehand. 6,500 people are sitting in this room with you. Isn't that something? And you're all linked together. That's the truth of it. All right? You have to be aware of that. Now, I show this picture for a few reasons. And yes, young ladies, this has a lot to do with you, but gentlemen, it'll also have a lot to do with you. I don't understand why it is. Hang on, ladies. Hang on. Don't worry. What's she doing? What's wrong with that? Hold on 1 second. Give me a minute. The reason I show these pictures is first thing I want to ask you. These are all Facebook pictures from profiles. Can you tell me why it is that no girl uses their yearbook picture or their communion picture or something like that? They all have to have a picture of themselves standing like this, right? With their camera. Can you tell me why that is? Let me tell you something. I know why the guys like it. And not because they're looking at that picture going, wow, there's a girl I want to take home and meet my mother. Right? So let me ask you this, all right? This is not portraying a very good image of yourself. It would be very easy for someone who does not know these people to look at these pictures and say, wow, they're kind of trampy, right? Is it true? They could be the nicest kids in the world. They could be the most upstanding young ladies in the entire world, but we don't know that. And what I want to point out to you is this. These two guys right here, I'm a Steelers fan. I know that's going to get me in trouble here in New England Patriots territory. However, I've loved the Steelers since I was a little kid. These two guys right here were Hall of Fame defensive players for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 1970s. The guy on the left is a guy named Jack Lambert. The guy on the right is Mean Joe Green. They were known for being the meanest, toughest people that ever stepped on a football field. They were known for whenever they came off the football field that they were not very nice to the fans. They were rude, crude, obnoxious, amazingly tough football players. Let me tell you something. So what does that show? That's the perception people have of them. So everybody believes they got to be mean. They got to be rude. They got to be ignorant. They got to be, oh my God, I can't believe. Well, something I like to do is I collect autographs. I like to go to autograph shows and meet old Pittsburgh Steelers. Guess what? I was really nervous about meeting them. Joe Green is a mountain of a man. He's like 6'5", over 300 pounds. He's huge. He was the nicest person in the world to my children. The nicest, most polite, and kind person I've ever met to my kids. Jack Lambert, I met him in a collectible store in Maryland. And I said, you know, Mr. Lambert, I just wanted to say, my dad passed away a few years ago. You were his favorite player of all time. And I'm expecting him to go, you know what, I don't really care. You know what he said? I'm really sorry to hear that. I wish I'd have really gotten to meet him. You know, I'm really glad you came. Thanks. Really? The two meanest guys in the world. But guess what, folks? That's our perception. And that's what it is for everyone. It's not even close to being true, is it? But that's the perception people get. And what you have to understand is if you portray yourself that way, that's what you will become in their minds. It's going to be a reality, folks. There's no question in my mind. Think about these people, right? Bradley Cooper up at the top. What do you think about when you look at that picture? She's like, oh, he's so dreamy. No, but what do you think about? You look at him and you go, wow, you know, he looks like a really nice guy. You know, Jennifer Aniston. How about Heidi Klum and Seal in the middle, right? They look like decent people, don't they? I'd really like to meet them. Meanwhile, you look over on the other side, you see Paris Hilton. What's everybody think of Paris Hilton? She just said it. Perfect. Ew. She's dirty. She's trampy. She drinks all the time. She's a drug addict, right? How do we know that? Paris Hilton could be the nicest person in the entire world, and Bradley Cooper could be an absolute jerk. But guess what we know? Our perception is actually what we take as reality, isn't it? So whenever you're online and you put those pictures that are a little bit trampy, you need to understand something, because ladies especially, guys, you don't really care what your reputation is, right? You sleep with a lot of girls. Okay, so you're like, and? With girls, it's very important, isn't it? It's very difficult to repair a reputation that way. So keep this in mind. When you're doing these pictures, what people see is what they're going to believe. That's going to become truth for you. That's number one. Number two is this. These are all lovely young ladies, right? Lovely young ladies. These guys want to actually take them home and have them meet mom, except for this one right here, who's the vampire that looks like she wants to suck your blood. Except for her. They all seem like very nice ladies, right? What I want to point out to you is this. You're online talking to these lovely young ladies, trying to meet them, and you're actually talking to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I have 14 fake Facebook pages. I maintain them on a regular basis. Not on a single one of them am I a 40-year-old cop. Not on one. I'm usually a girl, a boy, 14, 15, 16. I have one where I'm 10. Just so I can search around. And am I actually out there searching for you new? Relax. I'm not out there. I'm trying to find the bad guy who's trying to get you. Okay? But you need to keep that in mind, folks. Anybody here going to be really thrilled about having a 40-year-old cop on their Facebook page seeing where their parties are every weekend? Exactly. Think about that. Keep that in mind. The next time you're on there and you're talking to somebody, and ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. Even when you think you know that person, is it very difficult to get a picture of your next door neighbor and to find out their name and create a Facebook page so that they can get to you? It takes nothing, folks. Nothing. So be careful. When you're out there talking, you don't know what you're saying, and you don't know who you're saying it to. Here's a nationwide famous example of exactly what I'm talking about. Peter Chapman is the worst scum of the earth. He is a 33-year-old guy who decided he was going to fool Ashley Hill, who was 17, into believing he was a 17-year-old kid named, what was it, DJ Pete. He romanced her for a very long time, lured her to meet him, had sex with her, and killed her. Yep. When they actually went down there and they checked his computer, he had a Facebook profile with almost 3,000 friends. Aw. And all of them were females ranging from the age of 13 to 31. Folks, they save this stuff. They trade this stuff. And they wait for you. Think about it. She was 17, and Ashley Hill was a very smart, well-adjusted girl, not some victim living in a basement somewhere who was ignorant. She thought she was being careful, and look what happened to her. I like this slide just because it's a little lighter than the Chapman slide. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Ha ha ha, I know, it's funny. Okay, now, part of my job is to interview some of these lovely people that do these bad things to other people. And it's very difficult sometimes because you get in there, and when you see on their computer what they have, and you hear about what they're doing and what they thought about doing to these kids, the first thing you want to do is hit them with a chair, and then you just want to stick your gun right in their mouth because it's so disgusting. But I have to make them think that I'm their best friend. Mainly because I'm not the kind of person that would do this kind of stuff, right? And if I'm going to learn how they do it, I have to talk to the guys that do it so I can fight against it. So we go in and we do these interviews. Now, this is actually a result of some of the interviews that we did. I'm going to give you an example of how they find you, all right? What I did was we came up with this section of the presentation and we used it on MySpace, all right? Most people don't go on MySpace anymore, but it's a very good example of what they can get off your computer, off your social media pages that they can use against you, okay? What we did was we tried a zip code search for Lakewood. Lakewood, New Jersey is right north of my town, just north of it. 08701, men and women. We got 75 pages of results, and these are some of them. See this? Both 18 and 100. Who here has MySpace? You admitted it before. You better admit it again. Why do you put your age in there? Because 13-year-olds can't have Facebook pages, right? or MySpace pages. They wouldn't let you. So what they would do to hide themselves is everyone that signed up would say they were 100 years old. It's smart, right? Nobody will ever find me. I'm 100 years old. So that's the search that we did within 5 miles of Lakewood. And we got 75 pages of results, including the young lady on the bottom left-hand side who stubbed her toe right before she took that picture. And here are some of them. This is the first one we want to talk about. So let's play Dr. Babe. What does that tell us about this young lady? You know what it tells us? It tells us maybe she's a little curious about herself. Ooh. Because her name isn't, oh, I want to go play in a park and dance with the daisies. It's, let's play doctor. Do you think she wants to go to medical school? She is a female, 99 years of age, and she's from Iglesias, I don't know how to pronounce that, Tennessee. How old is she? 99. Now. She looks good for 99, right? Where is she from? Within 5 miles of Lakewood. We didn't have to try for this one, folks. This was easy. She's protecting herself, though, right? Nobody's going to come find me. I'm 14, and I'm saying I'm 99. Nobody's going to come find me. When that pedophile actually wants to come after me, he's not going to find me because he's going to look in Tennessee. Ha ha! Really? Within 5 miles of Lakewood. Poof, there she is. Now let's go in on her page. These are all kind of innocent, right? Look at her pictures. It's not that bad. One of them might be a little bit questionable up on the top here. She goes, do you like this one? Because I don't think I do. You tell me, smiley face. Also tells us that she's maybe a little bit curious about being a little bit more explorative with herself. But what ends up happening is this. All right, the bad guy's going to look at these pictures and listen what they actually think. They look at that picture in the corner and go, oh, you know what? She's a little bit curious. I like that. That's good. That's good. Look at the bottom left. It says, that's my little sister for you. Awesome. She's got a little sister. Maybe she doesn't get along with her very well. Got to remember that. Got to remember that. Maybe you say something about a little brother or something. That's awesome. Over here on the right-hand side in the middle, I love Nicole. Loves her. What is that? Her BFF. All right, she's got a friend. She probably tells him everything. Really close, probably been together for a lot of years. That's awesome. I'm going to use that. Oh, you know what? I wonder how old this girl is. Anybody here Catholic? Don't worry, I'm not going to preach to you. All right. See that picture in the middle? The big one with the smile where she's like, it says confirmation. I don't know why she used 3 N's. But confirmation, how old does she have to be confirmed? 14 years of age. 14. Bam. That's exactly what that bad guy's looking for. I want a 14-year-old girl who is very curious about herself, has the same kind of emotional and social issues as everybody else, and I could use it against her. So you know what he's going to do? He's going to go to the Ocean County Library, or the county library where this girl is located. Oh, but wait, there's more. Look on the top row, second picture in from the left. She was real smart, right? You're never going to figure out who I am, so let's play Dr. Babe. You're not going to find me. Look what she put. She put her name with a nice little heart. Isn't that convenient? Bam. He goes down to the county library. He finds all of the yearbooks for every school within a 5-mile radius of Lakewood. He finds her name. He looks up what club she's in, what sport she plays, who her BFFs are, who she dedicates her yearbook to. Then what he's going to end up doing is he's going to go to that school, watch her come out of school and get on her school bus. Follow that school bus home. Watch where she goes when she goes inside. He's going to watch to see when mom and dad go to bed, when they get up, when they go to work. How many brothers and sisters does she have? Where does she sleep in the house? All of these things before he even has the first conversation, folks. Before the first bloop, I hear you like soccer. He knows everything about you, and guess what? You gave it to him. Every piece of information that he needs, you gave it to him. Off of this very innocent page. Very innocent page. There's no drinking parties on there, is it? Nothing like that. No using drugs on this page, are there? But she gave him everything. Everything he would need to come get her. Think about it. One of the things that I like to point out to you is these predators don't really care as much about who they're victimizing. And you have to keep in mind that these people are sick people. An example that I didn't use in the last one that I'll use with you guys, we had a guy who we caught because there was a young boy who was about 13 who was doing something to his brother that his mother caught him doing. And she said, whoa, where'd you learn that? Oh, my friend on the internet. Okay. So we take over his screen name. We get this guy to show up. He shows up out front. We lock him up. We're putting him in the back of a car. And one of my friends, one of the guys that's locking him up goes, I know that guy. Yeah, so you know everybody. What's the big deal? No. I went to the police academy with that guy. He's a cop. Unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is this. These people go in and they will keep a log of every single conversation they have. These kids are not something that they like. It's not something that they need. They're conquests. They're conquests. A lot of times we'll go in and we'll explain. Like with Janie, I talked to her and told her, hon, let me tell you what he was going to do. She would not believe me. They brainwash their victims to a point where they will actually destroy the evidence of what took place to get their victimizer, their abuser, off on the charge. That's what they are. And folks, you have to keep that in mind whenever you're on the computer, because these people are out there and they're looking for you. These are not nice people. They're not easy to get along with. They're not easy to find. But they're very, very, very dangerous. Around harassment, listen, I want to put this in there just because. Harassment's an easy thing. Harassment is essentially anything that you do that can be designed to be alarming or annoying to another person, especially anything that you put on a computer. That's called cyber harassment. Folks, judges and courts are looking to make examples of people. They really are. So what ends up happening is when I was a kid, if I wanted to call somebody a bad name, I had to get up in their face and do it then, right? Now, you can type it on a computer and hit enter. You can say, you're a skank with ugly hair. Beep. I got her. Nice, right? Problem is, that can be considered harassment. That's a crime. And with it being changed in the last couple months, you guys are going to have it just like we have it in Jersey, where it's no longer a misdemeanor. It's actually considered a felony. So you know what you're going to hear if you actually absolutely must send that message? 3 o'clock in the morning, you're actually going to hear this. I'll give you an example. You know what that is? The cops. Nobody knocks like that but cops. Come on. We're going to come into your house with a warrant. We're going to seize all of your computers, your televisions, your phones, all of your thumb drives, anything in your house, your cable boxes, anything that's capable of storing any type of electronic information at all comes with me, including mom and dad's work computers. They're mine. So let me ask you, is it really, really necessary to send that message? You have to be really careful with what you're doing, folks. You have to be really careful. You know what I suggest to people is this. If you really have to say it, you really got to say you're a skank with ugly hair. Type it out. Sit back for a second. Read your message and think in your head, if I was reading this to my mother, my priest, my principal, my teacher, any of them, would they be proud of what I was saying? Would I be embarrassed? Would I have a problem with that? If any part of it in your head goes, well, delete it. You'll still have said it, right? I feel good now. Whoo! I can walk away, and now you're not in trouble. Think about what you're doing. Something my mother used to tell me and that I love, it's one of my favorite quotes in the entire world, is it's far better to be thought of an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. So don't write it down. You can hate anybody you want up in your head. It's no problem, right? Hate anybody you want up in your head. You type it out, you're giving them proof. And then we're going to end up knocking on your door, and your parents are going to be a little upset. Think about that. So what can you do? I got to tell you this much. You know why I have a Facebook page? I've been out of high school now, something I'm not proud of actually admitting, but I've been out of high school now for 25 years. You know what? I have not seen the same people that I went to high school with. You do all the time. You don't need social media. The same people that you're on Facebook with are the same people you just left at school. And you will see them in a couple more hours tomorrow. It's really not that hard. Do you need social media? I say no. But if you absolutely must, do your best to try to make it as private as you can and be careful what you put on there. Because if you don't, it could be used against you. Okay? Change your IM screen names and your email addresses on a regular basis. And then tell your friends, the people you care about, don't share it with anybody. Because the bad guys do that. They collect all those IM names and they just wait for you to pop back up there. It's harder to hit a moving target. Think about it that way. All right, it's easy. If you're at the same place every time, I know where to find you. If I got to look for you, I might find you, but I'm probably not gonna. Change your stuff. Put on the internet, think about it. What you put on there stays forever. Even if you go in somewhere, mom sees that posting, she gets upset, and you delete it, it's still there, right? It happens all the time to me. Yeah, I wrote that on the internet, but I deleted it right afterward. I realized it was a bad idea. But guess what the other person did? They took a screenshot, and there it is on their phone. Did it disappear? No. But look, these are some goods and bads. Folks, do yourselves a favor. If you think that it's some kind of radical question or some kind of radical statement, do yourself a favor and don't put it on there. I might say on a computer, cops rule. Right? Cool. Yeah. Cop. Woo. People might agree with me, right? But what if somebody thinks I'm actually bragging and thinks that, oh, you know what? He's on that side of the fence. And then they start thinking bad things about me, or they think I'm some kind of extremist. Be careful of what you're putting on there, folks. Your opinions are your opinions, and you are entitled to them, but be careful when you write them down, because they are subject to interpretation. And the interpretation is made by the person who reads it, not the person who wrote it. So your intention is irrelevant. All right? Be careful with what you're doing. We like to put this up here. We actually mentioned this. Just recently, there was a problem over at, or a guy who was going to get a job at Red River, which is right across the river in that other New England state on the other side of the river. But guess what? Here he is. He's got it all lined up. Everything's good. 60 grand he's going to make. Nice, right? Nice cushy job right out of high school. Guess what? They found out he had a Facebook page. Guess what he didn't get? Job. Colleges look for it, guys. I knew a kid whenever I was in school. He actually got a scholarship. Full ride scholarship, 4 years to the Miami University of Miami. The Hurricanes. People that play football there usually go to the NFL. Big time program, right? He has a big party that night. Guess what he does? He posts pictures, man. He posts pictures. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Guess who called him the next day? Miami. Stay home. We don't want you. Click. These people look up this stuff, folks. If you're talking about jobs, every job that you go for now, they will do a background investigation. The first thing they're going to want, your social media usernames and passwords. And then they do their own investigations to make sure you're not lying. They see any of this, they don't want you. Anybody that wants to go for a scholarship, wants to go to college, wants to get some kind of career, guess what? That's going to be a problem. They're investing $400,000 in you. Are they going to do it now? You can't follow simple rules. You can't actually stay off the computer and stop putting pictures of yourself doing stupid things. Are they going to pay for your college? No. No, absolutely not. How about these guys, right? Gangsters. We have a saying in Jersey, if you want to be a gangster, you're going to be a gangster. Somebody's going to find you and turn you into a gangster. Here's the problem, though. These two weren't. All right, these two weren't. Apparently, these are just two prep school kids that are being knuckleheads, getting on a computer, trying to act all tough. And they get on the computer. Guess what, though? One of them was just about to become a cop. And they find this on his Facebook page. Guess what he didn't get? That job. It doesn't disappear, folks. What you post can be found. And any employer worth their salt is going to go find it. Do yourself a favor. You have that drinking party, or I'm sorry, I know none of you would ever attend any parties where anyone under the legal age of consuming alcohol would be consuming alcohol. However, if you ever found yourself in that situation, don't post the pictures on the computer. One of my jobs early every Monday morning is to sit on my computer on one of my fake Facebook pages and find out where all the drinking parties were over the weekend. And let me tell you something. You're standing there with a red Solo cup. What is everyone thinking? There's beer in that cup. I don't care if it's soda. Why else would you be holding a red Solo cup and a picture on Facebook? That's the perception, and perception is reality. It's a fact. Think about those people. I love this guy. Listen to this. This kid wrote Blood Gang on his arm. From experience, I can tell you, no blood is ever going to write Blood Gang on his arm. Not going to happen. Not only that, but if a Bloods member finds this kid, they're going to find it as something that's extremely disrespectful, and they're going to come and hurt him real bad. But I actually love this posting. Listen to what his mom wrote, because she found it. Remove this stupid post or you'll have your gaming privileges. His gaming privileges were revoked. That's a real bad gangster, isn't he? And I am shutting down the Wi-Fi. You are no gangsta. Final warning. Any more stupid stuff on here and your account is gone. You down with that, homie? That's awesome. Mom's watching too. But do yourselves a favor, don't post stuff like this. You got to remember, there are people out there that can see it you don't even know. And words are just as bad as pictures, folks. Look at that bottom one on the right-hand side. Shut up and speak English. I don't care if you're thinking it. You write it down. Holy cow, that makes you sound like a whole new brand of stupid, doesn't it? It really does. It makes you sound like a bigot. Who's going to hire you? I don't care if that's your opinion or not. Do we have the freedom of speech? Can we think whatever we want? Sure, you can think whatever you want. You write it down, you are a new kind of stupid. People will use that against you. You understand? Be careful with what you're posting. Pictures, words, they count. And selfies. I mean, come on, really? This is Hannah Montana here, right? It's Hannah Montana. It's Miley Cyrus. Maybe she was just trying to show you how much weight she lost. Or that they made that MTV Music Award out of chocolate. You look at these pictures, you do not see a nice kid. You see a pig. And that's what ends up happening. We all believe that about her. And what about this one? Justin Bieber's a real problem child, isn't he? He really does not take a good selfie. Not remotely. Not even remotely. Folks, do yourselves a favor, please. Please, please. Listen to me. You don't need social media. I'm being as honest with you as I possibly can. Is it really going to be that bad if you take that picture and show it to your friends the next morning instead of showing them to you immediately? I don't think it really is. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious, Johnny and Janie, how many other Janies did he have?
No. What ends up happening is these disgusting pigs that you want to stomp into the ground, they save their chats and they save their victims, just like Mr. Chapman did. And they keep it as like a scrapbook, almost like a yearbook, and they brag about it to their other disgusting pig friends. And there were a lot. There were a lot of victims. A lot of them we couldn't even identify, though, because it's all done by screen name. Or if you do identify them, you talk to the people, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not me. It's very hard, but there were at least 100. No, he was actually concentrating on her. They typically do it that whenever a traveler gets it, that's like, you are everything, and I'm going to make it work. Any other questions? Folks, please do yourselves a favor and be careful. I can catch some of them, but I only catch a very small percentage of them, and that's part of my joy, making really bad people go to prison and become somebody else's friend. That's what I do, and I like doing it in this case. Do me a favor. Please be as careful as you possibly can out there. Don't let people do stuff to you. If anybody, and also the other thing I wanted to tell you is this. If anything ever happens to you and you're like, I don't know about that, call the police. Because I got to tell you, I can't do a lot of investigations unless I take over somebody else's screen name. So do me a favor. Make sure that if something like this happens to you, a picture like that comes up, call the cops. Maybe we can go and find some bad guy and make sure he doesn't hurt some other kid. Okay? What's that? It's not always guys. That's absolutely true. I do need to apologize for that. I used a lot of those kind of examples, but in my experience, there have been more guys than women, but it is what it is. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your attention.